Thanks, Ken. Well, these will sound like storylines out of an afternoon made-for-TV soap opera. But the two child custody cases playing out in Kentucky's Supreme Court are real. At the center of the drama, two mothers, two children, and questions about who should be their real fathers. WHAS 11's Mark Hebert has been in Lexington for today's court proceedings, and Mark joins us now. Mark, these cases involve, as I understand it, children who were conceived in extramarital affairs.
Yeah, and who's their real dad? Do bloodlines always trump emotional attachment? That's what the Kentucky Supreme Court is trying to decide in two Louisville-based parental rights cases involving children born out of extramarital affairs. And the rulings could set legal precedent for step-parents or grandparents who want custody of kids who aren't biologically theirs.
Open court.
The Supreme Court of Kentucky is again in session.
Kentucky Supreme Court wasn't sitting down to see Dustin Hoffman and a scene from the old movie Kramer versus Kramer.
I want my son.
You can't have him.
But the justices were about to hear two real-life dramas involving the custody of kids conceived during extramarital affairs.
It would get an Oscar.
In the first case, James Rhoades was having an affair with Julia Ricketts of Louisville, producing a baby boy. Rhoades continued to see his son until Ricketts told her husband that the baby wasn't really his. Since that bombshell last year, the Ricketts family has pretty much kept Rhoades from seeing his 14-month-old flesh and blood.
I just want to see my son. I love my son.
The Ricketts say the boy should only have one father, the so-called psychological father, the caregiver he's living with, not the biological dad who fooled around with the boy's mom.
The person who invades the nuclear family should very well have thought about it. What am I doing to this nuclear family before getting into it, creating this child?
In the second custody case, Ren Hinshaw is trying to keep custody of the 8-year-old boy he's raised since birth. Hinshaw didn't know he wasn't the biological father until his ex-wife told him during their divorce and went to court, claiming Hinshaw had no legal right to keep seeing what he thought was his kid.
But why couldn't he be a parent? Is that because he's not the biological parent?
Yes. Frankly, he cares more about this child than the mother does.
One lawyer told the justices that if they rule in favor of the non-biological fathers in these cases,
it will be floodgates. The grandmother's relationship may be more significant, but that doesn't change the legal status.
It will likely be a couple of months before a ruling, and while attorneys argued about the rights of biological and psychological fathers here, they were arguing in front of two women on Kentucky's highest court. Justice Lisa Beth Abramson of Louisville joined Mary Noble from Lexington in hearing arguments today. That's the first time two women have been on the 7-member Kentucky Supreme Court. Live in the newsroom, Mark Hebert, WHAS 11 News.
All right. Thanks, Ken. Well,